Hollenberg Radio Network as we are a month out after the election of 2024 as we have a red wave. Of course, we have people on the Democrat side that think there's not a red wave, so I do have a guest joining me. His name is Mike Morin. He is the host of the Rational Boomer podcast, and he joins me now. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, I'm curious. I remember hearing you say it, and I remember hearing Donald Trump saying it's a red wave. It was a landslide. And please give me the data that supports that, because I've got some data for you too after you do yours.
Okay, well, it's Donald Trump won the presidential election 312
Hmm.
to 226. That's 86 votes. It's almost 100 points. That's quite a margin.
Well, let me ask you this, okay? You said he won 312 to 226. That is correct, and
Mhm.
you're calling that a landslide. In 2020, Joe Biden won 306 to 232. Is that a landslide as well? Was that a mandate? I mean, we're talking about
Yeah.
six electoral votes different. You want to say that Donald Trump won by a landslide, but you want to diminish what Biden did. You see where the problem is there? You're not consistent.
Well, it was a pretty good margin. I didn't deny that Joe Biden didn't win by a good margin, but it was a lower margin than what Donald Trump won by.
By six electoral votes.
Right.
The other thing you have to consider too is the popular vote, even though that isn't what decides it. Donald Trump claims this is a mandate. Now, in order to get a mandate, you have to get over 50%, which he did not. He won by a margin of 1.4%, which is the second or third lowest in history. Now, I'm not denying that he won, but the fact that you want to call it a red wave or a mandate or a landslide, that's just incorrect. But that's in line with what Trump-fucks do. They always hype things up, they exaggerate, and hope to God somebody believes it. Well, I can tell you, I don't believe it because the data says otherwise. And it doesn't really matter in the long run. I'm just getting tired of Trump humpers talking shit when they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, it's still a pretty decent margin, and
So it was
the
Biden's.
Republican. Well, I mean, it's you won by a smaller margin, but
6 electoral votes is the difference. Are you telling me
right.
you go from a landslide to not a landslide in 6 electoral votes? I think that's silly. I think that's kind of exposing people for exaggerating their situations.
Well, I mean, it was still a decent margin that Joe Biden won by, but Donald Trump won by more. I mean, he didn't just
Six
barely
electoral
win.
votes. Is that significant?
Well, it's a little bit more above Biden, but I wasn't comparing him to what Biden won. We're saying that uh, Donald Trump won the election without he didn't win just 270 or 280. He really got way above the 270.
As did Biden, and as have other presidential. See, that's the point here. You would want to diminish what Biden did, which you did, and you claimed it was fake and it was a hoax, and that there were inconsistencies, which never ever been any evidence to prove that. We know that there was some fishy stuff going on in this election, but here's the difference: we Democrats aren't whining like little bitches like the Republicans did. Donald Trump won. That's fine. Now show us what the fuck you got. I'm curious as to what you think some of his policies are going to do, because I don't think you really understand how it's going to impact you.
Well, what do you mean? I mean, he's going to straighten out the economy. The economy's been in
How?
shambles the last 4 years. Well, gas prices have been the highest in history under Biden.
I'm paying 279 right now. That's lower than I've seen in a long time. And explain to me how gas prices are going to go down. This is interesting. I'm curious as to what you know. Donald Trump, correct me if I'm wrong, said that he's going to put tariffs on Canada, correct?
Yeah, he's going to put tariffs on a lot of places.
Okay. We get about 60% of our oil from Canada. So tell me how that's going to bring down the price of gas.
Well, he had
One other thing I'll mention to you, he was on Meet the Press today, and he was asked, Will tariffs bring down prices? Can you guarantee that? Donald Trump says, no, I can't guarantee that. So tell me how the gas prices are going to be lower.
He had him lower when he left office. He had him low during his administration. They were like 215 when he left office. Joe Biden came in, signed executive orders right away, and shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. Gas
Hey,
prices
wait.
ended up
Okay,
being.
okay, Brian. Let's just. I keep hearing you people say he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. He did
He did.
not. That is still up and operating. They were going to put an extension onto the Keystone XL pipeline that was never built. It was never built, so you can't say it affected anything. And on top of that, it was supposed to be tar sand coming from Canada to Mexico. You don't know what you're talking about. It did not raise prices. Donald Trump's tariffs. Well, let me ask you this: you think Donald Trump's tariffs is going to help bring down prices? Is that what you believe?
Well, I mean, it's
That's what
the
you said
tariff.
going into the election.
Okay, because the tariffs that he's going to put on like products coming in is gonna. It's meant to get people to build here, the companies to have their plants here. I mean, when we have Democrats having high corporate taxes, that makes the companies move overseas, right? Put tariffs on companies. That's just going to make companies move back here, so we build here in the country and not overseas
How did
for
that work in the
products.
first term? How did that work in the first term? He put tariffs on China. China quit buying soybeans. Soybeans rotted in people's farmlands. The farmers went broke, and the only way they survived was because Donald Trump had to bail them out by the tune of $58 million. Is that how you want to run the economy? That we have to bail people out because we take away their opportunity to make a fucking living?
Well, we didn't. Well, he had everything under control during his first term. I mean, Joe Biden took
No, he
over
didn't.
everything.
COVID killed 1 million people. He had nothing
But
under control. He didn't do jack shit.
he had we didn't have high inflation when Trump took office. I mean, it all this happened when Joe Biden took office. This is why Joe Biden lost the election. Every inflation is sky high. Gas
What's
prices were
inflation? What,
high.
Brian? What's inflation right now? What is it right now? Do you know?
I don't know the percentage, but I know what it is at the
Then
grocery
how do you know
store. But
it's
it's going
high?
to
If you
be
don't know what it is, how do you know it's high? It's like about 2.5%. That is not high. Under 2% would be good, but it was up at 9% at one point after Joe Biden took office, and it was high because of uh, the COVID situation and the supply chain thing, and that was brought on by Donald Trump. It was high at that point. So Joe Biden gets in. It's 9 now. It's 2.5. Tell me what Joe Biden did wrong.
okay. Grocery prices. You go to the store, everything is
No,
like
no, 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 no,
50%
no, no,
more.
no. Let's go back to the inflation.
No.
Tell me what Joe Biden did wrong and tell me what Donald Trump did right.
Well, inflation happens when the Federal Reserve prints money. I mean, Democrats print money, that's what causes inflation. I mean,
What did
Donald
Donald
Trump,
Trump do during COVID when he handed out all the money and he increased the debt by $8 trillion? Did he print money? I think he did.
well, we're talking about just, you just got to look. You go to a grocery store, I mean, grocery prices are a lot higher than when Trump left office. I mean, what he's saying, Joe Biden strengthened the economy by making everything go high.
Absolutely. Unemployment is lower. Uh, GDP is higher. Manufacturing is higher. A lot of things have worked better. I'll tell you where the problem is it hasn't trickled down to the younger people in this country, and that's a problem of the Republicans and Democrats. These people are getting paid low wages. They're getting stuck with high loans from colleges, and they can't survive. That isn't a Democrat or Republican thing. That's a government thing. Both Republicans and Democrats have stuck it to the middle class. And now that Donald Trump's in, you're going to get hit very hard. Here's the thing, Brian. I'm a retired guy. I'm not
Yeah.
really going to be affected. I don't care what's going to happen because it's not going to affect me. I care about my kids and my grandkids. And you should be worried as a younger man who's working and things get more expensive. all this claims that you're talking about that Donald Trump will bring it down. He just said today he's not sure that tariffs will bring down prices. He's not sure if it will raise prices. I thought Donald Trump knew what the fuck he was talking about, but apparently he doesn't.
Well, okay, in your opinion, why do you think Donald Trump won? If Republicans are so bad, Donald Trump is so bad, why did he win the election?
Because Democrats, well, first of all, I think there was a little funny stuff going on, but I'm not going to whine about that. Secondly, it's because the Democrats are stepping on their own dicks in this situation. We've got the
Of
far
course.
left people that are trying to protest Gaza or whatever the fuck it is. These guys didn't. They thought Joe Biden was doing a bad job, so now they hand it to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's going to allow Israel to wipe out Gaza. So you got blood on your hands for that reason. Honestly, the fact that Donald Trump won, it makes no logical sense. The only thing it can be is the Democrats fuck themselves again. See, here's what you got to understand, Brian. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat or Republican because I don't join fucking clubs. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. Here's what you got to understand, it's them against us. Both sides have been taking money from the middle class. Both sides have been feeding the wealthy people in this country. What you're talking about is giving money to the wealthy because they won't move out of the country or they'll build more things. That's called trickle down. That's something Ronald Reagan brought into existence 45 years ago. And guess what? In that 45 years, it hasn't worked once. The fact that you're still falling for that bullshit is unconscionable, especially as a younger man with a younger family. You're fucking yourself. And I'm going to giggle my ass off as I watch you do it because I'll be fine.
Okay, it just, well, I mean, it's got to be a reason why the Republicans won. Now, I know during the election,
I
voters
just
were
told you the
saying,
Democrats fucked themselves.
okay, but what I'm trying to tell you, if you let me talk, is that voters were saying that this time around, they're concerned about the economy and the border. That was the two biggest things that were influencing voters in this election. And it was going around that everybody knew that the Democrats were bad at both. The border is wide open, illegals just flooding the country,
Now, wait a minute, Brian.
everything
Wait a
high.
minute,
Yeah.
Brian. Once again, you're just saying shit you know nothing about. The fact of the matter is, we don't have caravans coming to the border. We have less people coming across the border. Biden has arrested more people coming across the border than Donald Trump has done. The border is no bigger problem than it was with Donald Trump or any other previous president. We have problems down there. There's no question. But here's the thing: Joe Biden and the Democrats wanted to pass a bipartisan border bill, the most stringent in history, and Republicans even voted on it, and Donald Trump said no. So is Joe Biden responsible for the border? Is Donald Trump? It sounds like Donald Trump to me.
Well, it's okay. Now that border bill didn't stop illegals from coming over. That just the border bill was just to process them quicker and stuff. That doesn't stop the
it
problem. That's the
it
thing.
it put more border patrol down there and more equipment down there to process and deal with these situations. If that's not the way you want to do it, please tell me what your solution is or what Donald Trump's solution. Build a wall that Mexico's going to pay? Yeah, that worked out well.
Well, build a wall. I mean, build a wall. Stop. Even if we have to pay for it, it stops them from just flooding the country instead of border
Didn't
patrol
stop
just letting them
shit.
in. It does
The
too.
fucker
Stop it.
things falling over and people were climbing over it. It didn't do shit.
It
Donald Trump told you it was a big deal and you were dumb enough to buy it. So now you were dumb enough to vote for him. So now you're going to suffer the consequences. And I'll tell you another reason why. And this kind of pertains to what I'm doing here. One of the reasons why the Republicans won and the Democrats lost is because we don't have we have a faction of people that aren't too bright. The
yeah.
the Republicans love to rant and rave and carry the narrative, blame Joe Biden for everything, blame Democrats for everything, even though a lot of this stuff is Republicans' fault. But people were dumb enough to listen to what was being said. So now that you have the power in the House and in the Senate and in the presidency, we're going to come out and say, you fucked up again. Why are the prices high? We're going to blame you every fucking minute of every fucking day for the next 4 years. We're going to do
Well,
what you
what if
did and win.
Well, what if that doesn't happen? What if things go great? What if prices go down? What if the economy strengthens? What if? What if it all just works out great and you're wrong? What if?
How, well, we know tariffs won't make it work great. I mean, let's look at what tariffs have done in the past. Tariffs brought on the depression back in the 20s. Tariffs fucked over the farmers in Donald Trump's term. Tell me when tariffs have worked and how they work to bring down prices. Do you understand how tariffs work? Donald
Yeah.
Trump puts a tariff on a country. That country adds that amount to the middleman who has to buy it. Then the middleman adds it to the price of the product, which means you and I pay for that. Tell me how China pays for that. And if you're suggesting that, well, that make people want to buy from American made things and we'll build companies
Yeah.
that make American made things. Well, let me ask you this. Didn't Joe Biden come up with this CHIPS Act so that we could make the chips here in this country as opposed to buying them from China?
Did
Isn't
he
that true?
implement that? Did he implement
Yeah,
that, or is it
yeah,
still not? Is
yeah.
it
You don't know that it's
being
been
made here?
implemented? You got to read up sometimes. You got to keep up here. But here's the thing. This is what China just said. China said, if you put the tariffs on us, we're going to stop importing rare earth materials. The materials important to make uh, military equipment, batteries, chips. See, that's what happens. Donald Trump's not the toughest guy in the world. He can't say, I'm putting tariffs off and not get some kind of response or some kind of retaliation. We got it from China in his first term. We're going to get it this time. Donald Trump is just talking out his ass. He doesn't have strategies. He just says shit. Nobody in this country, no economic person in this country says tariffs is a good idea. The only people that say that are Donald Trump, and people like you believe him. And that's you're going to be your failure.
Well, over half the country voted red this time, Mike.
48% of the country, not over half the country. And you're absolutely right. And
Yeah.
I'm disappointed and amazed that we have this many ignorant people. And when it happens and when it goes badly, they're going to deserve what they get. I'll be fine. I've got enough money to make sure my kids are fine. But if people are crying and whining out there, let me ask you this, Brian, do you still where you used to work?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, when he puts a tariff on China, keep in mind where you work, probably 70-80% of the stuff they sell comes out of China. So that's going to raise the prices on everything. Well, 70-80% of everything you sell in your company. How's that going to help you? Not to mention the DEI bullshit. How's that helping you?
Well, not if we build here. I mean, that doesn't happen if it's American made. You're not
Build
getting
what?
that.
What are you going to build here?
Well, any product from A to Z can be built here once you lower the corporate taxes, which Republicans are good at.
How much
Companies will
lower can
want
you
to be
go? They
here.
pay nothing as it is. Listen, if they build, let's say it's a bicycle, okay? And you buy the bicycle from China. If we have more bicycle manufacturers here, by virtue of it being in this country, it's still going to be more expensive than what you're buying from China. The prices are going up, Brian. You might want to try to kid yourself, but they're going up. And I'm going to laugh my ass when they do because I
They're
can afford it.
they're going up because of Democrats. That's the way it is. I mean, it's like when Donald
They
Trump
can't
left
go. They can't.
office.
They can't go up because of Democrats. You have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Everything that happens going
Well,
forward is on you.
going forward, we're talking about in the past, because when Donald Trump
Fine.
left,
The economy's fine.
it's not fine. Everything is higher than what it was when Donald Trump left office. How is that fine? Grocery prices are 50% more when you go to the store than what it was when Trump left office. Gas prices are higher. I
No,
don't know
they're
how the
not.
economy's fine. Yeah, I fill up my car all the time, Mike.
Well, so do I. Look, here's the thing. You're whining about egg prices and gas prices. They are certainly going to go up. He's going to fuck over the farmers. He's going to fuck over Canada. And that's where we get our oil. If you can't see that that's going to raise prices, I feel sorry for you because you're going to get blindsided. You're going to get hit with this stuff and you're not going to know what happens. But I'm willing to sit back and watch you do that. But let me ask you another question. Donald Trump also said one of the ways to fix the economy is drill, baby, drill. We got to get more oil,
Yeah,
right? You said that,
yeah,
right? Do you agree with
yeah.
that?
Well,
Do
yeah,
you
if
agree
we
with?
don't have to import it from overseas, I mean, that would be a good way to
I
do
just
it.
told you we imported from Canada 60%. But here's the thing. What did the oil companies say when he said drill baby drill, we're going to drill more oil, we're going to pull more oil in? What did they say? Did you read that part of it?
Well, what did they say?
What they said is we're already pumping more than we've already have, and we're not going to up make an uptick on it in the future. There's no need for it. By bringing more oil in it, that's gonna that's gonna give us a glut of oil, and the oil companies are not going to do it because it will drop prices if they do that. So Donald Trump can say whatever the fuck he wants, but if the oil companies don't want to pump more oil, they aren't going to fucking do it. And Donald Trump can't force them to do it. And even if they did do it, it wouldn't help.
Well, we had lower prices when Trump was in office. I mean, he says he's gonna lower them, so we'll just
Let, let,
sit
let
back
me
and
ask you
watch it if
this.
it does.
Well, when Donald Trump left office 4 years ago, we had COVID.
Yeah.
1 million people died, and gas prices were low. But why were they low? Because nobody was driving any place because of COVID. And Donald Trump is wholly responsible for as bad as COVID got because he did absolutely nothing for COVID. He got rid of the plan. He got rid of the committee to deal with it. He said it was fake. He said it would go away, but 1 million people died. I'm sure you still think it's a hoax. I don't know if you know anybody that died
Well,
from COVID, but you and I know somebody who died from COVID who was perfectly healthy.
I
Somebody
never
we
said it was
both know at the
COVID,
radio
but
station.
I never said it was a hoax. But it wasn't. You're talking like it's Trump's fault that COVID came about. I mean, it came from China. It wasn't anything Trump
It's not.
started.
It's not Trump's fault that it came about.
Right.
It's not Trump's fault that came about. It's Trump's fault that as president of the United States, he did nothing to protect this country from it. He tried to wish it away. He tried to say it wasn't going to happen. He tried
Had
to say it
travel
would go
bans. Yeah, travel bans. Up, nobody can come in
from,
from
from,
China.
from China. So what?
Yeah. Well,
Once
what was
it's
he
here,
supposed to
it's
do?
going to spread. Once it's here, whether they're coming from China doesn't make a difference. It spreads amongst us. He did nothing. He said it was a hoax. He said it would go away. He sat on his thumbs, and the reason he sat on his thumbs because he thought it would hurt him in the election. And guess what? That dumb fuck, it did help hurt him in the election because he did nothing. And 1 million people died. The blood is on his hands for that. It wouldn't
Well,
have happened with a normal president.
a normal president. Well, he won the election this time. He won,
Well, I know
pretty
you're proud of
bigly.
that. You're proud. Bigly. That's not a word, dude. Even Donald Trump should know that. The thing is he won the
Okay.
election, and I know you're proud of that. And you know what? I'm excited too because I get to watch you fail. I get to watch you feel stupid. And here's the thing: every fucking day, like I have for the past 4 years, I'm going to point out every failure, every ignorant comment, every claim that ends up being false. I may just call you at home, Brian, and say, dumb fuck, how's your gas prices?
Well, we have to wait till he gets in the office and see what happens. I mean, he ain't gonna do anything right now. He can't do anything till Joe Biden
He sure
gets
acts
out
like
in
he does. He's
January.
talking it. Let me ask you about this. Did you hear about what he said on Meet the Press today?
I didn't watch Meet the Press today.
You should have. Um, he was asked about birthright citizenship. Will you kick out the people with birthright citizenship? And he said, yeah, I will. Do you know what birthright citizenship is?
That would be like if an illegal immigrant was here, gave birth to a kid while here, the kid would be a citizen.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they should kick them out?
Well, well. What I think what he's trying to say is that the illegal that shouldn't be an excuse for an illegal immigrant to stay here. I think that's what he was saying.
You've got a 5-year-old kid and two parents, and the kid is a citizen because he was born here. You said you should let's send the parents home and leave the 5-year-old kid to work on his own. Come on.
Well, I don't know. I think what Trump would say is if he kicked out the parents, the kid would go with. I
Oh,
think
so
that's
you
what he's.
will kick out a birthright person with
I
birthright
won't. I mean,
citizenship.
I'm not in charge of that. I'm not in charge
How
of
do you feel?
that's Donald Trump.
How do you feel about the Constitution? You feel pretty strong about the Constitution. You believe the
Yes.
Constitution. You want to stand by
Yeah,
it. Well,
I do.
in the 14th Amendment, it says very specifically what birthright citizenship is. That human, whether it be 5 or 35 years old, has birthright citizenship. That's in the Constitution. Donald Trump says, well, we need to change that. This dumb motherfucker doesn't even know what it takes to change the Constitution. Do you know what it takes to change the Constitution? It's
Yes.
fucking, it's almost impossible.
It
You got to
takes
go through
three-fourths of the states to ratify it.
and 3/4 of Congress to ratify it or to pass it to get it
One or the
ratified.
other. One or the
It's not
other.
going to happen. So how is Donald Trump going to get people with birthright citizenship out of this country, or is he just talking shit?
Well, he might not be doing. I mean, it just depends. I mean, I don't know if you heard of the Convention of States. It's a convention going on to organize a convention to propose amendments to the Constitution. I don't know if you've heard of Convention
I've
of
heard.
States.
No, I've
Yeah.
heard of it. When's the last time we've done that?
It's still in the process. I mean, they have to get three-fourths of
It's
the
been in the
states to sign
process
on
for
to
a
it.
long time.
It,
It
ta- it
takes some
takes a
work to
while to
get
get it
that.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. So the likelihood of that's going to happen even within Donald Trump's term is absurd. I mean, it's just a talking point that doesn't
Well, yeah.
mean anything because it's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, it might be just like. Well, there's a lot of things that aren't going to happen. I mean, if you want to change the Constitution for a lot of different things, like they're trying to add an amendment for term limits for Congress, that's kind of a big thing that would be a big climb if they want to get that done. Stuff like that. Yeah, that's going to be.
That's got to get through Congress, and Congress is never going to put that limitation on themselves. People talk about term limits, and Congress is just not going to do it to
Well,
themselves.
Congress
I'm
doesn't need to. If you get three-fourths of the states to do it, it doesn't have to go through Congress. It's
Well, you
one
got to
or
go
the
through
other.
Congress. You got to go through Congress first to get it to the states. You don't just throw it out to the states. You got to go through Congress first to get it to the states. Um, Let me ask you this. One of the things that I thought would work against Donald Trump, and I was wrong about this, and it just amazes
Yeah.
me, is the whole idea of overturning Roe v. Wade. I have to assume you're all for overturning Roe v. Wade.
Well, okay, overturning Roe versus Wade doesn't end abortion like you
Of
claim it
course it
does.
does.
It sends the rights to the states. It doesn't end it because if a state wants to have legal abortion, so be it. Overturning Roe
Don't, don't,
versus
don't,
Wade doesn't stop that.
don't, yeah, but we know that the Republican Congress is also going to go after a national abortion ban. So that's just another step, another bullshit
And how do you know
meandering
that?
to try to get with. Because I've heard him say it. I heard Lindsey Graham say it. He said he wants a national abortion ban. That's what he said.
Well, Donald Trump says he won't sign that, so
Donald Trump says a lot of shit, but he's a pathological liar, so I don't buy anything he
uh,
says. But let me ask you this. In the state you live in right now, don't you have an abortion ban there? Or do you have abortion legal there?
it's an abortion ban. I mean, you can get an abortion if it's like medically necessary, like if it means saving the life of the mother and extreme situations like that, rape and incest and stuff you can. But otherwise, just regular abortion, no, it's banned here.
How do you feel about taking bodily? I know you have kids, right?
Yeah,
How do you
I
feel
do.
about taking rights away from any female kids that you have? How do you feel about that? You okay with that?
Well, I take away the rights to murder. I mean, take away that right. I mean, but it doesn't take away every. You make it sound like overturning Roe versus Wade takes away every right a woman has, which it
Pretty much
doesn't.
does. Go to
No, it doesn't.
Texas or Florida. It takes away every right they have. There are three women who died in Texas, not because they needed or wanted an abortion, not because they wanted abortion, because they needed it. There was a problem with their pregnancy. And even still, they couldn't get the reproductive health care. And these young women that were perfectly healthy, that could have lived, died. You okay with people dying unnecessarily?
Well, no, but the states that have abortion bans will do it if it's necessary. I mean, if it's medically
No, they won't.
necessary. Yeah.
No, they won't. These women died, so clearly they don't. There are women dying all over the country. There are women suffering all over the country. And you're okay with that because what Donald Trump was doing and the Republicans were doing was a war against women, war against LGBTQ
It's
folks, a
not
war
war
against people
against
of
them.
color. Yeah, it's a war against them.
War. It's not a
Ask it.
war.
Yeah, they're dying. Women are
War
dying.
against
They're suffering.
war against LGBTQ. That's not happening either, Mike.
Yeah, it is.
How's that? How do you figure that?
They're taking away rights from them. They're marginalizing
Like
them.
what? Well, I mean, it's just Democrats want LGBTQ people to have more rights than everybody else.
That's not
And
true.
Republicans are saying no. Yeah, it is. I mean, Republicans are saying no. I mean, if they want to be gay, you can be gay, but you're not treated better than everybody else.
How have they been treated better than everybody else? And since we're on the topic, tell me how people of color have been treated better than everybody else. Please tell me that.
Well, I never said they're being treated better than everybody.
You just
Democrats
said that.
want
You
them.
just said that.
No, I didn't. I didn't say anything about people of color being treated better than
Okay,
everybody else.
let's focus on LGBTQ. How are they being treated better than everybody else?
Uh, because kids are being taught in elementary school. Oh, it's better to be gay than straight. Oh, we got to use
That's
proper pronouns, and you
that's
can pick your
categorically
gender,
bullshit. That's
and you can pick
bullshit.
your gender. No, Democrats say that. They say you can pick your own gender and stuff. Yes, that's
Uh,
happened. That's true.
It's not happening, Brian. My wife was a teacher for 30 years. They are also talking about Donald Trump suggested they were having sex change operations in the schools. You worked in a school. You know better than that. You're being ridiculous and you're just trying to support a buffoon in Donald Trump with any lie that he fucking gives. That is bullshit and you know it.
No, I've had audio of that. It's been on my show. I cover that stuff all the time,
Audio
Mike.
from where?
From teachers, people that work in school, parents, they speak up at
What are the
school board meetings.
what are the teachers saying that tell you that they're forcing people to be transgender or
Well, they
gay?
say forcing it, they're just talking it. I mean, we had even on the news out here in Utah, we had a teacher go on a rant and a student pulled out her cell phone and recorded video of a teacher, threatening the students that, hey, we had LGBT. If there's a gay student in here, if anybody says anything, I'm gonna open up a can of whoop ass. I'm gonna do this, and it was on the news. They had to put it on the news, and this teacher got
You,
fired.
you folks are really easy to come up with one little circumstance and say that's what's sweeping across the nation. It's ridiculous.
It happens in other places, Mike. Yes, that is the
You're
agenda
not
of the
worried.
Democrats.
It's not the agenda of the Democrats. You don't know fuck all about the Democrats,
Yes, I
Brian.
do.
You don't know fuck all about the Republicans. I sit here and ask you questions and you can't answer it. Let me ask you this. Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter, rapist, even. How do you square that when you have a young family when he's been found guilty of sexual assault in court? It's not like the Democrats are making this up. He was. Are you okay with that? Having young kids voting for somebody who's been convicted 34 times and has been adjudicated with sexual assault? How do you square that?
Well, he's never been to prison for no sexual assault. If you get convicted of that, you go to
Oh,
prison. And he didn't go to prison.
oh, so that's the determining factor. If you don't go to prison,
When has he been
how,
found guilty of sexual assault? I mean, this 34
in
counts,
his
that's for
lawsuit.
this. No, that's for the business thing with Stormy Daniels, the hush
No,
money
no,
thing.
no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
It was with E. Jean Carroll. It was E. Jean Carroll. Keep it straight. He didn't sexually assault Stormy Daniels. It
Well,
was a pay
no.
for play thing. And then he bribed her to keep her mouth shut, which he did do, which has been proven he's done. Donald Trump is a horribly flawed man. And you and many others are dumb enough to buy into the bullshit. It's essentially a cult. Don't you feel like you're in a cult?
No, the Democrats would be the one more in a cult than we're in a cult. You
So your
guys,
answer to that is, I know you are, but what am I? That's mature.
no, we're not. I don't know why you think Republicans are a cult. Just because we
Trumplefucks are a cult. Not all Republicans, just
just because we
people that
won't
support Donald Trump.
just because we won't shoot Donald Trump out, we're a cult. Is that what you think?
Yeah, you agree with anything he says, no matter how ridiculous, no matter how
No,
wrong. Yeah, you
no, we
do.
we're not going to shoot him away just because we need him to fix the economy and the border and the mess that Joe Biden made. We need to fix that. I
Fix
mean,
what? What do you need him to fix other than lowering prices in eggs and gas?
the
Because he's not
economy.
going to do that. He's going to do the opposite. You keep talking
Oh,
about the economy. GDP is higher. Unemployment is down. Stock market is at record levels. You love about talking about the stock market. You know what the stock market was when Donald Trump left office? Do you know what it was? The Dow Jones. You know what it was?
well, I don't remember what the Dow Jones is. I just remember what prices are when we go shopping and gas prices and stuff.
Stock market in Donald Trump left was 30,000. You know what it is now? It's 44,000. So does that not suggest something's going right, at least with the stock market? Since Donald Trump loved to talk about the stock market, Joe Biden has raised the stock market more than Donald Trump ever did in his 4 years. And then Donald Trump crashed it with COVID.
Well, COVID didn't happen until near the end of Trump's term.
Right. And
Okay, I
when
mean,
Donald Trump left, the economy was fucked,
it was a
just like
lot
it
better
was
than what
with.
it is now. I
No,
mean,
it wasn't.
that's not what the
Brian,
voters are saying.
and you're oblivious.
No, I'm not. I mean,
You
that's what the voters are. That's why he won by we got most of the
that's
swing voters.
See, Brian, that's all you have. He won the election. You have nothing to really show that he's successful in anything he's done. Donald Trump, in his entire life, he's been a failure. He's been handed a bunch of money. He bankrupts companies all the time. He comes up with shitty ideas. He's selling fucking guitars that he's now getting sued for. He's selling NFTs. This guy is little more than a con man, and you got conned. And I think it's hilarious as I sit here and talk to you, watching you. You got conned, and you don't even really know it yet. At one point, you're going to realize it and you're going to feel foolish. And if you expect sympathy, there's going to be no sympathy.
Well, I mean, it's not just Republicans; it's a lot of swing voters that voted for Donald Trump too. So,
Well,
yeah.
let me ask you this. You say Donald Trump did exceptionally well here. It wasn't Donald Trump who won this election, it was the Democrats who lost. And I'll explain to you how. Donald Trump got
Okay.
about 40, Donald Trump got about 74 million votes in 2020, right? That's about what he got in 2024, too, around 74 million votes.
Hmm.
Joe Biden got 81 million votes, but Kamala Harris got much less than that. That's the difference. Donald
Yeah.
Trump didn't gain anything, which was a surprise to me in the first place. I thought he would lose some with overturning Roe v. Wade, but there's no accounting for what the people of this country want. So let them have what they want. But I'm going to tell you, as time goes on, the moment he gets in there, every failure, every raise price, every time the stock market goes down, it's going to be on you. We're over this. We're not crying about it. You cried about 2020 for 4 years. We're not going to cry about 2024. We're just going to hold you to account, and you better do what you said. Otherwise, we're going to be giving you a lot of shit and pointing the fingers at people like you who said, oh, the economy is going to be better. And when it's not, you better have some fucking answers.
And then when it is better, then I get to say all that stuff to you. Then, right? Will that work out
You
right?
can't, you can. I tell you what, if you feel so confident, I'd be happy to make a little wager with you. Be happy to put up some money, and in a year's time, we'll see who wins that money. I feel pretty confident about that. Would you bet that Donald Trump is going to succeed? Because you sure seem sure about it leading up to the election.
Well, it's kind of it's just you know it's that let's see what I'm trying to say here. Just that you're confident that he's going to lose, and you don't quite know that till he gets in office, and we'll have to just see what happens.
See, that's what you do. You just say he's got a good idea. I trust Donald Trump, which is ridiculous, and I think it's just going to happen. I can look at facts. I know what happens with tariffs because we've seen history. Donald Trump himself doesn't even know if it's going to bring down prices or raise prices. He said that today. You're betting that everything he says is absolutely true, and he doesn't even fucking believe it's true. I know what tariffs do. Tariff is going to fuck up the economy. It's whether or not the Republicans allow him to do the tariffs. Now, he can make a tariff, and it's only temporary for 5 months because tariffs have to go through Congress to be permanent.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if he puts the tariff in, Republicans could come back and say, fuck that. This is going to screw up the economy. No tariffs. The
Okay.
Republicans themselves can and probably will shut down Donald Trump if he attempts those tariffs. But Donald Trump talks a lot about a lot of shit. He talked a lot of shit in 2016 that he never got to because there's a certain amount of incompetence there and he doesn't like to work. So nothing much gets done. I would ask you in 2017 to 2021, what did he accomplish? Tell me what you
Well,
remember that he accomplished in 2017 that worked so well for the economy. What happened?
well, we had lower prices. That's really all
No,
there
what
is
did
to
he?
it,
No,
Mike.
no, I'm not talking about lower prices. I'm talking about what did he do to have lower prices? What did he accomplish? I mean, he took over Obama's economy, which was outstanding. He brought it back from George W. Bush, and for the first 2 years, he rode that fucking wave. What specifically did Donald Trump do to make the economy better? You got to have something if you're so confident.
Well, I'm just telling you. I mean, well, it's just running the economy. I don't know. I wasn't in the Oval Office to watch exactly what he
You lived in the
actually
country. You read
does.
the newspapers. You should know
Yeah,
what you're fucking supporting here.
yeah. Well, I mean, the economy was great when he was.
How
That
did he
that's all
do
I
it?
need.
What did he do?
I don't know exactly. Just does his normal everyday job,
Come on,
Mike.
Brian. If you're going to make these claims, you got to have some substantiation. You got to have some evidence that what you're saying is true. You're just saying, I feel like it's true. I like Donald Trump, so it's true. That's not enough in this world. You got to have some reasons behind it. I can tell you what Joe Biden did. Donald Trump was going to do the infrastructure, right? Week after week, he said 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks. He never got the infrastructure done. But guess what? Joe Biden did. And red states are benefiting from it, even though the Republicans didn't vote for it. Donald Trump didn't do anything with infrastructure, but Joe Biden did. Yet you love Donald Trump, even though he can't get anything done. The only thing Donald Trump did in his term was increase the tax credit for wealthy people. He gave us crumbs. Okay. Now, what you have to understand is that I was talking to um, Brian Wallenberg. He's a Trump humper. He's been on the show before. He asked me to be on his show. Well, he couldn't figure out how to hook Zoom in to get me in his Zoom. So I hooked him in my Zoom and he's recording it. Things weren't going well for Brian, as you can tell. And what does Brian do? He drops out. Now, I don't know if it was a technical issue or he just got tired of getting his ass kicked. I don't know what. But this is the kind of intellect that we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who aren't very smart. They have a feeling. They just like Donald Trump. There's no substantiation behind anything they fucking do. Nothing that they do. So when things get rough, he bails out. The last time he wanted me on his show, we got into it about 10 minutes and he said that oh, we're having technical issues. We'll have to do it sometime later. he's he's it's truly amazing. This poor kid. I wasn't easy on him, and I've told you before. I'm tired of being nice. I'm tired of being empathetic. I'm not feeling sorry for anybody. You're going to fucking answer questions, or you're going to shut the fuck up. That's just the way it's going to go. Yeah, he's not going to feel good. I have a feeling I won't hear back from him again. So, anyway, that's how it went. I feel a little better right now, don't you? It's nice to get that off our chest. All he could say was, well, he won. Well, prices were lower, but he had no basis to make those claims. I don't think I have to talk to another Trumplefuck. All I'm going to do is rip into Trumplefucks here and um, heading forward. Every time the prices go up, every time the economy takes a shit, I'm going to reach out to Brian Wallenberg and say, "You dumb fuck, you absolute dumb fuck." So anyway, I don't, here's the thing. It was his podcast, but I recorded it. I don't know if I can release it or not, but well, why wouldn't I? It's my fucking recording. It's not my podcast, but this dumb fuck couldn't come up with a way to get it done, so I got it done, and I'm here. It's my video recorded on my fucking computer, recorded on my Zoom, so I get to release it. He ain't gonna like that. I'll guarantee you, he won't release what we did on his podcast. He won't. And I kind of told him that before we got on the air. I said, by the time this is done, you're not going to use it. He says, well, I think, Donald Trump won. He thought just by virtue of Donald Trump winning that he had the upper hand on me. He did not, clearly. Not only because he's a Trump supporter, but because he's not a very bright kid. He's not a very articulate kid. He likes to talk shit, but he doesn't like to do any studying or any research. And that is his failing. It's really easy when you go on and talk Trumplefuck shit to a bunch of Trumplefucks. They don't expect any research or facts. This is just a rah rah show. We love Donald Trump. Yeah, we love Donald Trump. They get nothing done. It's stupid. He was right about one thing. Donald Trump won. And that is an embarrassment. That is a disappointment. But Donald Trump's got to do some other things to continue to win. He got the shot. The House got the shot. The Senate got the shot. Now you better fucking produce, or the Democrats, at least me and some other friends of mine, are going to be up in your shit every fucking day. All right. This isn't even really a Rational Boomer podcast. I've got another one, but I'm going to wrap things up. Be sure to listen. I've got an email podcast coming out. That'll be an interesting one. And then, of course, this week we'll get back to normal situations. So this is kind of an extra. Anyway, I will talk to you tomorrow, today, whatever it is. I will talk to you again soon, as always.